Good morning. Today we're going to talk a little more about reflections. We've introduced them over the last couple of days, but we're going to talk about them some more today. And so we'll start with reflecting across the x-axis. So here we have a triangle, and if we're going to reflect that across the x-axis, a reflection is like a mirror image. And here the x-axis is going to act as our line of reflection. So we need to create images of each one of these points that are the vertices of this triangle that are the same distance from the x-axis, but on the other side of the x-axis. So here if we look at point T, point T is 1 unit from the x-axis, and so then I need to find the distance of all the other points from the x-axis. So here I look, point B is 5 units, and point Y is 1 unit. And now I'm going to find the images of those points on the other side of the x-axis, the same distance from the axis. So when I look at point T, I need to go 1 unit on the other side of the x-axis and make my point there. And then I'm going to look at the other points, and point B, I'm going to go 5 units on the other side of the x-axis and make my point. And for point Y, I'm going to go 1 unit on the other side of the x-axis and make my point. And now I'm going to connect these points to get my new triangle. And one thing we haven't talked about before, but I'm going to introduce today, and I would like for you to start doing in the future when you perform any kind of transformation. But here with this reflection, we're going to label these new points using the prime mark that we talked about in our very first lesson on transformation. And so here point T becomes point T prime, point B becomes point B prime, and point Y becomes point Y prime. And I took away all those little braces where we had counted out our spaces just so we would see what's going on. Now, let's look at another problem. Here we're going to reflect across x equals a number. And in this case, we're reflecting across x equals -1. We haven't done this before, but basically what we do is we go to the x-axis and we find the place where x equals -1, and we're going to draw a line there. So I locate -1 on the x-axis, and my line is right there. And then I'm going to reflect these points across. And I'm going to start with Z. Z is one unit from that red line that we drew in there, x equals -1. So I need to go 1 unit to the other side of that line. And that point there is, let's start with V. V is 2 units from Y, and if I go 2 units to the other side, then I have the point V prime. All right? And then I'm going to look at B, and B is 1, 2, 3, 4 units from the x equals -1 line, and if I go 4 units to the other side of that line, I have B prime. And then I'm going to look at point H, and point H is also 4 units from that line. So I go 4 units to the right of x equals -1 and put my H prime point. And then I'm going to come back and do Z. And Z is 1 unit from the line, and so I go 1 unit to the other side of that line, and I have point Z prime. So now I'm going to just connect all of those, and I have the reflection of my image across the line x equals -1. Now if they gave you x equals some number, you would just move your line and still reflect across it in the same manner. All right, let's look at a reflection across the y-axis. And here I'm going to do what I did before. I'm trying to find how far these points are now from the y-axis. And I'm going to start here with point X. And what you're going to notice is that this figure is on both sides of the y-axis. So what's really going to happen is those points are going to swap sides, and our image is going to overlap this original. So if I look at point X, it is 3 units from the y-axis, so I need to find its image 3 units on the other side of the y-axis and label it X prime. And then I'm going to look at point L, and point L is 3 units from the y-axis, so I'm going to find its I'm going to find its image 3 units on the other side of the y-axis and label it L prime. And then I'm going to look at U, and U is 2 units from the y-axis, So its image will be 2 units on the other side of the y-axis, and I'll label it u prime. And then we will connect our points, and now we have our image. And the image and the original can overlap. No rules against that. Let's look at reflecting across y equals a number. Very similar to across x equals a number. We're going to go to the y-axis though this time, and we're going to find where y equals 1, and we're going to draw a line. So there's my line at y equals 1. And now we're just going to find the points, or the images of these points on the other side of that line. So if we look at Q, Q is 1 unit from that line, so its image has to be 1 unit to the other side. There's Q prime. And then we have E. E is 1 unit, and its image will be 1 unit on the other side of the line, so there's E prime. And then we have J, and J is 1, 2, 3 units from that line, so its image is also 3 units from the line, but on the other side. And then we have M. M is 1, 2, 3, 4 units from the line, and its image will be 4 units on the other side of that line. And then we will connect our points, and we have our image. We have our image of the original there. All right. I did not include any practice problems as a part of this set, but you will receive a sheet of practice problems. I think there are 10 problems on there if I remember correctly. And you'll work on those. You'll reflect some across the x-axis, some across the y, and then some across x equals a number and y equals a number. So please reference these examples as you go through so that you may do well on that. Have a great day.